Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. My name is Julia Zakashansky, and I'm going to be hosting this webinar today. We are I-CREATE, and we're really happy to have you here. I think you've all expressed interest in the recent solicitation, and this webinar is going to be guidelines, some background about the solicitation, and some frequently asked questions. We're going to ask that everyone mutes themselves for the duration of the webinar, and then we will take questions at the end. We are the International Consortium for Research, Engineering, and Acceleration of Technology Excellence. So right off the bat, we are an international effort, and we will fund international applications and applicants for this funding opportunity. This is the Medical Devices and Diagnostics Hub. So for anyone wondering what the objectives of the solicitation are, we are funding medical devices and diagnostics. So this is also in partnership with CIMIT, which is based in Boston, Massachusetts, and Science Exchange, which is an excellent platform for scientists to use and find vendors and suppliers for reagents and clinical research services, as well as many other services. So BARDA, for those of you that may not be familiar, it's the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. It's under ASPR, which is the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response. And there is an effort called DRIVE, which is the Division of Research, Innovation, and Ventures. So this is the BARDA Accelerator network that we are a part of. So our mission and our vision under I-CREATE and BARDA is to accelerate the development of medical countermeasures. So you all know we just had a really big and bad pandemic, and we would like to be more prepared next time that there is a pandemic or any such health security threat to public health. So while the BARDA Accelerator Network funds the development and commercialization of next-gen health security solutions, I-CREATE specifically supports the development and commercialization efforts of medical devices and diagnostics. And we are executing this as university lab partners, which is its own kind of innovator and accelerator hub in Irvine, California. But again, we are open to applicants from all over the world. We have a lab space that is, accessible to anyone who would like to use that, but we don't require any relocation, and really we're just here to help develop your technology and get it to market so that it can make an impact. So this solicitation specifically is targeting the development, validation, and evaluation of your technologies. We are supporting proof of concept technology development, so there's no limit on what the technology readiness level has to be. We want to help you reach value inflection points in your development. So this is any activities, maybe it's getting to proof of concept, maybe you have already demonstrated proof of concept and you need to de-risk the technology more. So what we're offering to that end is 50 to 200K awards, about a 6-month-long project scope. And what else besides those milestone-based awards? We have a huge network of subject matter experts that we would love to have you connect with and receive mentorship from, essentially. So that covers technical development, but a lot of you are complete experts in your technologies. So you might need support in the commercialization strategy, the regulatory pathway, clinical study, planning, implementation. All of that is included in this solicitation. If you're awarded, you get that kind of network, the support, and that is in addition to the funding. You don't have to pay for that. We also include educational programming that covers the commercialization of health technologies specifically. So this educational programming is developed by us with CIMIT. They have an excellent curriculum already that we've adapted to this solicitation specifically. And that's going to be several sessions about every month that are interactive. So everyone who is awarded will be together and discussing both, well, receiving lectures on how to optimize your development pathway and commercialization pathway, and then sharing your experience as you cover the topics and maybe receive feedback from voice of customers, interviews, and other modules like that. So the timeline for the solicitation, we want to receive your preliminary applications, which are live online right now, by August 16th. The secondary secondary applications will be by invitation only. So we're going to review the preliminary submissions, and mainly we're going to be assessing for fit with BARDA mission and vision, as well as the relevance of your technology to the areas of interest that are covered by medical device and diagnostics BARDA kind of goals. So we hope to invite you for those secondary applications by end of August, such that we can review the secondary application, which will consist largely of your description of what are you going to do with the funding, what are the milestones, and what's the timeline. And then we'll hope to award the final applicants by September, such that the program can officially begin in mid-October. So this is similar to what I just described, but you will submit this preliminary application. The areas of interest that I referenced include pathogen agnostic approaches, because you've seen that a bespoke diagnostic doesn't do a whole lot when there's an emergency. And when we need rapid scale up of technologies, we need something that is applicable to that. So if you have a technology that can be pivoted and that's not specific to one pathogen, that's a huge objective for us as a nation, to achieve a systematic and nationwide response to public threats that can be helped with diagnostics. Lab at home, we've been moving towards this for a long time. We still haven't quite achieved it. We don't have a lab in the home. We can't measure really critical biomarkers at home. It would be really wonderful to see applications that present technologies that can be used for lab at home type of applications. And that technically includes some platform and pathogen agnostic diagnostic platforms. Rapid and accurate tests, you saw that COVID brought a lot of those into the market, but then again, a lot of those have left the market and may not stay there. So for us to further push the development of ever more rapid and with retention of accuracy tests, that would be fantastic. Low cost tests, because if you make something that's really fast and accurate, but it's completely unaffordable, that's not exactly going to be the best fit for a rapid response scenario. And we want to also promote simple and user-friendly sampling approaches, because I'm sure, again, I'm going to use the COVID pandemic as an example, because we had a lot of close interaction with technologies in that space during that time. We have to have it be usable at home and anywhere. It can't be a really long workflow that's complex. And then that leads into the equitable and accessible innovations. We want to enable folks of all different types to use these innovations. And I mean both in terms of underserved populations, so people in diagnostic deserts, for example, but also people who may not have full use of, full mobility, have some issues with limited sight and limited hearing, and just we want to make everything as accessible as possible to as wide a population as possible. So applicants who meet these criteria, any of them, will be reviewed, and then we'll invite you to submit that secondary application if we deem that it's appropriate, to then review the specific milestones that you propose for the 6-month period. We also want to know what your timeline is for development in general. So part of that secondary application is going to ask you, what are you going to do beyond I-CREATE? And our goal is to set you up to be ever more investable after you graduate this program. We want you to reach those value inflection points so that you can receive more funding as a team or a company and eventually reach the commercial market and actually make revenue from these technological innovations. And then that really makes an impact on the population. So again, eligibility wise, we're looking at diagnostics and medical devices that are aligned with our areas of focus. International applications are welcome. However, I have to say that there's a caveat. There's a limitation for applicants that are affiliated with countries that are currently embargoed or sanctioned. There are no TRL limitations, and I have a slide that has the technology readiness levels described because I really want us all to be on the same page about that. We don't want you to inflate your technology readiness level. We just want to know what it is, because the more we understand about your technology, the more we can tailor that mentorship and the support of the educational programming to your technology. We want to benefit you. We don't need you to try to fit in any sort of box with regard to technology readiness level. For those of you who may be interested in applying with cancer-based research technologies, we don't really support that unless it can be developed in a way that also facilitates the areas of focus and the mission. So just think about that and see if you are eligible in that sense. And then finally, this isn't the last time you can apply. When we announce the awardees, that's just the first cohort. We hope to have many more. So there's going to be basically a quasi-rolling basis following the first cohort. So feel free to apply. We will keep your applications. We will reopen officially at some point in time, and you'll hear about that when that happens. So here's the technology readiness level slide. It's a lot, and it's online. It's under the applicant resources on our page. But generally, I just want to highlight TRL3 is generally what we call proof of concept. That's when you have research and data that support your technology functioning the way that you are envisioning it being used, basically. So we want to see that you've actually developed some kind of prototype, or maybe that there is it can even really be from external literature potentially. So anything that really supports that this has been done or demonstrated to be feasible. Then, so yeah, that's really all I wanted to point out. The other technology readiness levels can be different a little bit, just depending on whether you're a medical device or a diagnostic. So not everyone will have animal studies and not everyone will need them, but generally it's just the characterization, the advanced characterization of the product specs and functionality. And then finally, eventually everyone will have to go through some sort of clinical studies or clinical trials. And then scale up. We want to provide you with partners that can help you. Whatever stage you're at with regard to technology readiness, we aim to provide you with support that fits your stage. So we might have subject matter experts that can advise on the design of your prototype. If you're already at a point where you have designed a prototype, we can set you up with basically tried and proven and vetted firms that can help you develop the physical prototypes. And then if you're at a point where you have a prototype that's been de-risked, we would love to also connect you to manufacturers. So contract development and manufacturing organizations, that's part of our mission, is to help you de-risk that process. If you don't know who you would go to, we want to help you support identifying those CDMOs and just make sure that your design is scalable and designed in such a way that it can be developed and manufactured at as low a cost as possible, such that you can actually, have the best odds of commercializing it and pricing it in a competitive way. And then, of course, I haven't really touched on this, but IP and licensing, that we have a wealth of folks in that field that we have access to, that we can connect you to help you develop your IP strategy or make sure that you're covered. So the frequently asked questions that we received in the webinar signups, not US based, totally fine, except for some countries. At which TRL? There is no specific TRL. If you're right about to commercialize, that you might be too advanced for us, but if you're still de-risking your technology, that's really the sweet spot that we're looking for. Do you need to be incorporated? No. We are accepting applications from university-backed projects. We really want to help expand that funnel from universities to the market, because folks have great ideas and they need support to shape them in a way that makes them attractive to enter the market. And then finally, digital health solutions and therapeutics. There are other hubs in the BARDA Accelerator network. Specifically, the other one that's been announced already is Vital. That's the vaccine and therapeutics hubs. So if you have a technology that has to do with vaccines or therapeutics, we urge you to apply to Vital, because that is what their domain is. And then digital health is another one that's yet to be announced. If you'd like to apply, because they haven't been announced yet, you can submit your application. We may kind of reroute it later once digital health is announced, but we will potentially review it in the meantime. If you have any other questions, just email us at this email on the slide, and we will get back to you as fast as possible. And in the meantime, submit an application if you think you're a fit. We're going to be very excited to review it. If you know anyone who you think would be interested in applying, please amplify as much as possible. We would love to see all your colleagues and collaborators who fit the scope apply. There's never enough innovation. So thank you very much for your attention, for your interest, and I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the day.